I don't want to be a musician who is somehow consuming stuff and not producing anything.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And so I'll take the trade. I try to produce some information that I can share with young people, so I can teach, so I can get paid, and so that I can make some music that I can share with some other people. And
Yeah.
that's worked out, well. It's funny too, because like you teach at a place like NEC, and there are people there who are on the Boston Symphony Orchestra teaching. They're doing better than all of us improvisers. They're still teaching.
Sure.
So they have an extra day, so they're teaching. And
Yeah.
and they're not doing it for charity. They're getting paid.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's part of how you apply your trade as a musician. Like, you play weddings, maybe you teach kids, you teach in a college, you play in the symphony, you play it, and then at the end, you play a jazz gig or you play the music that you totally love.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that. I remember it a lot because I'm almost up to being the second half of 100 years of there being an improvising musician in my family. My Uncle John started playing the drums professionally in 1920. I know he recorded in 1924.
Wow.
Yeah. And
what did he play? Jazz?
he played drums. Yeah, he played jazz. He was a singer. He played with Paul Speck. He played with Vincent Lopez, Tony Pastor. He was like a swing guy and an early jazz guy. He played with Eddie Lang and Joe Venuti and the Dorsey brothers and Adrian Rollini and, all those heavy guys.
Sure.
And he, in his day, he worked, they had an orchestra that played before silent movies. There was like the Pit Orchestra. And then he played like dinner, dancing kind of thing at a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And when radio came in, he'd do radio instead of the movie thing because that was over, and play in the dinner, dancing, and then a concert or something like that. He played in orchestra pits, and then he'd go and do jazz gigs.
Yeah.
And so he used all of his skills as a musician, and he played drums and he was a singer, and so he wasn't just, he in a way he's maybe even better known as a singer, and he did fine, and he didn't give up making money because he wanted to play jazz. He made money and he played jazz.
Yeah. Well, you got to survive for sure.
Yeah, and that's another thing I tell young people, like, do everything. Don't let it wreck your life. Don't let any part of this wreck your life. Like we already learned that.
Yeah.
We already learned that can happen if you get too perfect about all this. Like,
yeah.
Good people should have a good life and, have family in it and, be able to go to the doctor and, eat well and have a safe environment. And nothing about the kind of thing I do is worth giving that up. There's ways to have, I moved pianos and played music.
Yeah.
I had a job as an estimator at a moving company for years while I made 5 records a year for different record labels, including one for ECM, and went to Europe a bunch of times. I managed to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And having grown up with no money and having no support financially from anybody in my family, I had to work. And, I figured out, by being able to, by working and playing music, I developed like carpentry skills so I could buy a house and fix it up.
Sure.
Yeah. Some things about the limitations of music enabled me to make my life better because I had to confront a bunch of different things.
Sure.
And I think there's a lot of ways to be very pure about a particular musical direction and not have a negative impact on your life.
Right. Sure. Didn't you move a piano for Jackie McLean once?
I did move. No, I didn't move a piano for Jackie McLean. I don't think there was a piano in it, but I moved his furniture one time. On Martha's Vineyard, I worked for this crazy guy. He's a great character. And he said one day, I got this shipment coming in from Connecticut for this guy, Jackie McLean. It's got to be delivered this afternoon. Who wants to take it? And I said, wait, Jackie McLean, the saxophone player? This is in 1980? Yeah. He goes, yeah, I think so. He's a black guy from Hartford. I was like, yeah, that's Jackie McLean.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, you want to take it? And I said, yeah. So I went over and moved his furniture in and hung out with him for the afternoon. It was really, yeah, I told you that story, huh? Yeah.
Yep.
It was super cool. He was really nice. And, he and Dolly, his wife, were, I remember saying it was like I Love Lucy or something. I mean, they were, she said, Jackie, you want me to make you a sandwich? And he said, yeah, would you make me a sandwich, baby? It was super sweet to each other. It was this really beautiful home.
Yeah.
It was like a vacation home, and they made sandwiches for us and let us hang around for a while. And I talked to him about Elvis Costello, who he liked, and the art ensemble. He told me stories about, some of these stories are well known, but he told me about the first time he played with Miles, and about how much he didn't like Charles Mingus. Told me all these stories. It was very cool. It was
perk of the job,
It was very cool.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was. I asked him. I said, "What's it like to be like a legend of jazz? Like you're like a legend."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and he wasn't like the first guy I'd met like that, but it was a particularly it was a different situation. I think he was really surprised because he said, "How do you know about me?" I said, "Well, I'm a musician. I mean, I know a lot about you. I listen to a lot of your records." He said, "Oh, I don't really know, man. I don't really know I can't really say how I feel about being a legend. I mean, I'm just like living my life,
Yeah. That's funny.
But he told me a lot of stuff that day. I guess I asked him a lot of questions, and he was very, very forthcoming, very
Sure.
open about it all.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.